don't know. Tim Walz is out there talking again.
He say he could fight any Trump supporter?
Yeah, he says he kicked their and they're scared of him because he could fix a truck. Like they're threatened by his masculinity. I know how to fix a truck. That's what he said. Like, do you? I bet you don't.
The lady doth protest too much.
I bet you don't.
I fear.
I bet if I bring a broken truck to you and a bag of tools, you're
Joe Rogan delivered a brutal roast of Tim Walz, tearing into the Minnesota governor and exposing him as the very definition of mediocrity. He mocked Walz's endless indecision, dull speeches, fake tough guy persona, and shallow photo op politics, dismantling every piece of the governor's carefully staged image. Instead of coming across as a bold leader, Rogan painted Walz as nothing more than a substitute teacher fumbling through roll call while the classroom burned around him. It wasn't just a takedown. It was a masterclass in roasting political irrelevance.
Oh, he believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13.
So for those out there who are wondering, aren't there something else you could be doing or doesn't seem to impact you in your life? This is what it means to show empathy. This is what it means to be welcoming.
He changed the Minnesota state flag to make it look like a Somali flag. You haven't seen that?
But our current flag is problematic. I think we all know that. We've evolved into a more diverse state, and I think it's more reflective.
Joe Rogan's roast of Tim Walz was like throwing a deer into the spotlight. Suddenly, every awkward habit, bad decision, and overblown gesture became impossible to ignore. Walz has built his image around being the calm, responsible Midwestern dad in the room, but Rogan cut straight through that act. What he exposed wasn't a steady leader, but bland politician with all the inspiration of a microwave TV dinner.
Is that Tim Walz cocksucker? If that guy got into power, like if Kamala died and Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, was our president, you know how crazy this country would be? That weirdo who puts tampons in the boys' room. And what about our joy? Like he's a complete pathological liar. Like a complete liar. Lied about being in Tiananmen Square. Lied about being a fucking head coach of a football team.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Tim Walz loves to lean on his background as a teacher, coach, and military veteran, as if that alone makes him untouchable. But Rogan wasn't buying the myth. He ripped apart the idea that teaching high school geography somehow prepares you to govern during chaos. Knowing the capital of Nebraska doesn't mean you can handle an economic collapse. And coaching a football team? That might help you yell hustle up at teenagers, but it doesn't magically qualify you to lead millions of people through a real crisis.
Well, there's more than one thing, too, right? He said he was a head coach.
Yeah, he was a head coach. He was
not a head coach. He was an assistant. Well, there's more than one thing, too, right? He said he was a head coach.
Yeah, he was a head coach.
He was not a head coach. He was an assistant coach, which is an honorable thing. There's nothing wrong with being an assistant coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he also inflated his actual rank, right? He was slated to achieve a certain rank,
right?
And how did it go? Like he had to commit to the fact that he wasn't going to retire in order to achieve his rank. Is that what it was?
He didn't finish essentially the program, the coursework, for a command sergeant major.
When controversy hits, Walz gives long, dull answers that sound more like a principal explaining why Pizza Day got canceled. Rogan mocked his pauses and empty words, calling his speeches political wallpaper, bland, beige, and forgettable.
But what does it look? Okay, but what does it look like now?
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay, on the left is Somali flag. On the right is the Minnesota state flag. Okay, same color as Somali flag, a white star, a different white star in it, like the Somali flag. Very different than the original Minnesota flag. And there's the video down below that. That's when he changed.
When it came to crisis, Walz looked like a guy fumbling with his phone flashlight in a dark basement. Rogan tore into his 2020 Minneapolis response, saying he was slow, indecisive, and more focused on appearances and action. Instead of stepping up, he stepped aside, like someone trying to fight a fire with a spray bottle of Frazzy. Lots of effort, zero results.
That's all it is, obviously.
Obviously.
There's video of Tim Walz doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Exact same thing. And he said, of course, it's a Nazi salute. He said that.
Having them trying to debate that President Musk gave a Nazi salute. Of course he did.
This is how crazy things have gotten. Like,
It's coordinated propaganda.
Walz's attempts to look tough only made things worse. Whenever pressure hit, he puffed up his credentials, constantly reminding people of his military service. Rogan mocked him for it, comparing it to a guy at the gym bragging about benching 3 plates back in college. Sure, Walz served, but that doesn't magically turn his shaky political moves into brilliant strategy. Wearing a uniform years ago doesn't excuse today's failed policies. Instead of leading, he acts like he's running a bake sale, trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing no one. Rogan said it's like a comedian too scared to offend the crowd, so he avoids real jokes and spends 2 hours talking about airline food.
when he changes it out. So he takes out the Minnesota state flag. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Turn the volume up, please, so you hear him say that.
All right, ready. Whoa, wait a minute.
So he gets the flag, picks it up, moves it out of the way, and replaces it. Look at this.
There, that's better.
Is it?
Why is that better?
I don't know.
Why do you care what the flag looks like, first of all? And why do you get to change the flag? How crazy is that the governor gets to change the flag? Like, who else is involved in that decision to change the flag?
Is that what happened?
Walz's style isn't bold leadership. It's blending into the wallpaper. Rogan mocked his committee-approved speeches as word salad with Midwestern accent, full of platitudes and zero substance. With his everyman look minus the charm, Walz came off as pure mediocrity in khakis. Even his economic policies, Rogan said, felt like half-baked experiments. Talking about fairness, but delivering results that look more like a failed science project.
Fuckers get in charge one more time. I mean, they were talking about cracking down on hate speech online. Like, that free speech is not hate speech. That Tim Walz guy was actually saying that.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Hate speech. Free speech does not include hate speech. Like, what are you, by whose fucking definition? Yours? A guy who thinks tampons should be in the boys' room?
Rogan compared Walz's leadership to a homemade soda bottle rocket. Lots of enthusiasm, zero chance of liftoff. Even his attempts at inspiration fall flat. His speeches about unity and resilience carry the emotional punch of a dentist voicemail. Instead of firing people up, they put audiences to sleep. Rogan joked you could use a Walz press conference to knock out an entire plane without turbulence. And whenever Walz tries to project authority, it feels forced. He doesn't radiate confidence. He radiates someone desperately trying to look confident. Rogan likened it to a substitute teacher demanding respect on day one, only for the class to figure out they can walk all over him by lunchtime.
When they decided that J.D. Vance was weird.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
And then they just weirds everywhere.
Weird. Oh, you don't want a weird guy. Meanwhile, you have fucking Tim Walz. Is your
super
VP? You don't think that guy's weird?
Super weird.
He's weird in every way.
Yeah.
The way he walks, the way he waves his hands.
Yeah, he reminds me of the clown emoji.
He's a bizarre guy.
He's a strange dude.
I just don't
Gives me the
understand why
willies,
they made
actually.
that choice.
Yeah, it gives the creeps.
I just don't understand why they made that choice. There's a lot of other people that are qualified. I don't know why. I read that Kamala Harris made that decision when she was sleep deprived, which is kind of hilarious that she said that. So she's kind of admitting she kind of.
Walz tries to brand himself as a relatable everyman and a brilliant leader, but Rogan exposed that he's neither. He speaks in platitudes no one uses and spends more time explaining delays than leading. Forgettable yet frustrating. He dodges accountability like a sport, always blaming circumstances instead of owning mistakes. Rogan joked it's like a kid making excuses for missing homework. Never his fault, always the pencil, the dog, or Mercury in retrograde.
You, because everything that we called misinformation just a few years ago, it's on the front page of the New York Times now that we were lied to.
You can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. There has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power.
The New York Times just printed a thing. Turns out we were lied to.
They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Yeah, you lied to us. Yeah. You were.
Rogan tore into Walz's obsession with photo ops, mocking how he cares more about looking busy than actually leading. He's a guy who rolls up his sleeves for a press conference to look hardworking, even though a staffer just handed him the notes. Rogan compared him to an office worker circling around with a clipboard. Plenty of show, zero results. His speeches sound like auto-generated fortune cookies. All progress and unity, but empty at the core. Next to Trump's unhinged tweets or Biden's awkward attempt at relatability, Walz looks like a placeholder. A background character in politics no one really pays attention to.
What do you think about Walz's descriptions of his military career? Because there's some issues there.
Yeah.
That people have. I don't know if he flat out ever said that he served in Afghanistan, but he certainly didn't dissuade people from saying that he was. When they were saying he didn't correct them,
right?
There was things
he didn't. And he
Rogan mocked Walz's failed attempt at national relevance, saying he talks like a heavyweight but lands like an undercard fighter swinging at shadows. Trying to impress the country, Rogan joked, is like bringing potato salad to a 5-star restaurant. It might fly back home, but nobody wants it on the main stage. Walz sells himself as steady and practical, yet his policies wobble like a lopsided table. Even his expression became a punchline. Always that half smile, half frown, like he left the garage door open but won't admit it. Rogan said his leadership feels less like governing and more like customer service with a state seal.
Look at this.
There, that's better.
Is it?
Why is that better?
I don't know.
Why do you care what the flag looks like, first of all? And why do you get to change the flag? How crazy is that the governor gets to change the flag? Like, who else is involved in that decision to change the flag?
Ask, is that what happened?
I don't know.
Usually it's a big event. They let people.
Rogan ripped into Walz for constantly posing as balanced, saying it just makes him look like a man stuck on a fence, too scared to fall either way. He dubbed him the Switzerland of American politics, neutral, boring, and irrelevant. The harshest jab? Walz is forgettable. He doesn't inspire, enrage, or excite. He just exists. Rogan joked most Americans couldn't pick him out of a lineup of insurance salesmen. By the end, Rogan exposed him as a politician defined not by boldness but by invisibility. President title, absent in impact.